Welcome to the Grow and Expand with S podcast, where we break through limitations, we heal from within, and we step into our most expansive, most fulfilled, and highest life and timeline. And of course, any journey towards growth and expansion will at times feel overwhelming. It will feel lonely, and it can feel confusing and abstract. And so at the very heart of the Grow and Expand with S podcast is my intention to give you the community, give you the conversations, give you the tools, the techniques, and the practices and the concepts that will help bridge the gap for wherever it is that you find yourself to wherever it is you are headed. And of course, as human beings, as much as this podcast is about finding fulfillment and about happiness and about life and growth and expansiveness, the only way to that is through our pain, through grief, through feeling the dark moments and acknowledging all that it means to be human and to live in this world. And so today we are going to drill into the topic of grief. And I would like to welcome Jess from the Aliyah Mae Foundation, who's joining us today in that topic.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to chatting.
So happy to have you here. We've already had so many chats before we actually kicked off, but there'll be plenty more to come. Everyone's going to enjoy it. Jess is the founder of the Aliyah Mae Foundation. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Aliyah.
Jess is dedicated to supporting bereaved families. So Jess, can you just take me through how, in your own words, how your foundation came to be and your story around that?
Yeah, for sure. And forgive me if I get teary.
You're forgiven, and it's encouraged.
Yes. So in 2021, I had my first child. I had Aliyah, and she was everything. And July last year, she was booked in for a surgery. It was meant to be routine and unfortunately had complications and ended up passing away unexpectedly. She was only 3 years old. So, and when we left the hospital, we were left with nothing. There was no support. There was nothing. And I just thought, how the hell do people do this? Like, this can't be what support's available. There was nothing. And Aliyah she had so much love to give. So much love. And she wasn't just a 3-year-old. She was an old soul. She'd been here before. And 2 weeks prior to losing her, I was saying to one of my clients at the time, I was like, man, I'm struggling so much with this kid, but she's going to change the world one day. I've just got to survive bringing her up. And I never wanted anybody to put that fire out. And unfortunately, it did get put out, but as her legacy, was like, no, I can't let what happened to her be her legacy. It was really public. It was really traumatic. It was just, I don't want her to be remembered for the loss. I want her to be remembered for the light that she had, and she had so much to spread.
Of course.
And I've always been a mental health advocate, and I just thought, you know what? There's such a big gap here, and she has the power to change that. And so that's when...
Through you.
Yeah. And through this foundation, it means no one will ever forget who she was, who she is, who she will always be. And we can hopefully help support families that just aren't getting the support, because the reality is that as much as we don't want to think about it, it happens more often than we think. And the fact that you could feel so alone and unsupported in the most horrific time of your life is just, I couldn't sit by.
Unacceptable.
Yeah, completely unacceptable.
Which is why you haven't accepted it.
Yeah, and this foundation has become my baby. It's a way of staying connected to her and spreading her light and showing her brother that even when you feel like you've got nothing left to give, you can turn love into power and still create a life worth living and with meaning.
And there's no condition to love, right? Like whether you're here, whether you're not here, whether you're this, whether you're that, whether you, like it just is, and no matter what.
Yeah, I feel like it's even stronger now.
Yeah. So I've got so many questions. The first things I suppose that I was wondering is, you know, obviously the heart of this entire kind of interview and discussion is going to be how that foundation has fueled your fire and how that's come about. But everything you've discussed so far, it sounds like you've done personal development before that point. And is that right? And do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah.
Because, you know, the things you're talking about, that reframing and that ability to alchemize pain into something that can serve, and to sit with that and regulate through that and feel it and not run from it, and then to repurpose it in something that changes everything in your relationship with it. Like, that's powerful. So my question is, have you done, like, did you do...
Goosebumps.
Well, it gave me goosebumps when I read all your things. And so the question is, yeah, have you done any kind of stuff like this before, or is it just a soul thing?
Yeah, a little bit of both, but I've definitely done a lot of work on myself. When I had my kids, I did get postnatal depression, and I just felt a loss of identity, as most women do when they have kids. And I did a lot of soul searching, and I already had a business at the time, which I'd had for a number of years. And I don't know, one day I looked at it and I was like, I've just been coasting and with no real purpose or intent. And I don't want that. I want to show my kids that they can do anything they set their mind to, and fuck what anybody else has to say about it. Yeah. If you want something, you can make it happen.
Yeah, if your heart desires something, you can do it.
And I realised I wasn't leading by example, and that had to change. And when I was able to realise that, and nobody could have ever taught me that, I had to learn that for myself. You know, I can be told a million different things by a million different therapists, a million different people that I, meet on their own journeys, but until I was ready to accept it, that something had to change for me to instill in my children those messages and those values, then there was nothing.
Yeah, that's right. You draw on things you've then learned previously. You draw on things you've heard. You can draw on wisdoms, but you got to be absolutely ready. I'm exactly the same as you. I often wonder, obviously I've got a lot of clients that I coach, and I often wonder if I had a Shanae with her, I'd fucking listen, because for me it's very much first personal, and then I can. Yeah. But I obviously had a different coach, and so I did listen, so maybe I would have. Then, so what did you turn to when you realised that you were not, I suppose, in joy anymore in the business, and you weren't in your life, like you weren't in that space anymore that felt good and like happy and joyful and all that, like passionate maybe is the other word of describing it. Like, what did you do? What did you turn to? How did you get the information to know what to do next? Because so many people feel stuck, but they have no fucking idea what to do next. Like, what did you do?
Cool. So I'll be honest, I did get to the point after I lost my daughter, I wasn't ready to process what happened.
No,
like, some days I'm still not. But I threw everything I had into work, avoiding what was going on in my head, avoiding the feelings that I was feeling. I was trying to force so many things, and they just weren't working anymore. And I don't know what happened. Just one day I sat down on the couch and I had this epiphany almost, and I said to my husband, I was like, I think I need to close the business. I think it's not serving me in the way that it used to. And there was so many tears. There was. But it was the right...
Because how long had you had
7
that?
years.
Yeah. And did you study for that? Sorry, I don't know what your previous business was.
Yeah, so I was a cosmetic tattooist and a skin therapist.
Yeah.
I'd had it for 7 years, and it was absolutely thriving after I, rebranded and when I had my kids, and my tagline was literally, self-care is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Like, that's...
Oh, yeah. That remains, right? And then
and
self-care
it
is
still does.
Admitting to yourself when something is no longer working.
Yep. And that doesn't mean it's easy, though.
No, it doesn't.
It does not. And, some hard truths are not easy to accept. But once you do, I've just found the power and the things that come when you stop forcing, it just...
And start allowing.
And start allowing things to just come to you as they should be. And it's been amazing. And the support, like the community I have built, the people I have attracted in my life, I am so, so grateful. And it just, like, the connections that I've been able to make, it's been amazing. And it's only the start. Like, she's still gonna change the world. And I think having that drive behind me to show my son that despite going through the most horrific thing you could go through, you can still make a life worth meaning.
Because that is every parent's worst.
Yeah.
Fucking nightmare, mate. That is the shit
Mm-hmm.
that keeps us up as parents. And I'm sure before that moment, because we talk about control and not control, and we have this illusion we can control things, right? And we just can't. But before we acknowledge that, it's the things that make us wake up 6 times at night and go and check, are you breathing? It's the things that make us go, don't do that, like control the shit out of them as they trying to just, it's the things that allow, it sucks the joy sometimes out of the moments where they're laughing and they're having fun, because we're so worried and fear-based that something is going to happen to one of our children. And then you were speaking just before about what we can and can't control, and then that's something like, it's just so out of like you and my control that then happened. And then you're saying that at the other end of that, the most horrific thing that can happen in this life, there's no support.
None. Absolutely none. Like, we got left a plastic folder of pamphlets on our doorstep when we went home. That was the extent of the support we were given. And I was just like, I feel like I would be a part of the problem if I don't use my story to do something. Like, I just, like, in this part of me, I'm like, my daughter wouldn't accept this. She didn't accept fucking anything. If she wanted something, girl, she was going to get it.
And that's the part in you, right, that might have just been beaten out of you over time in life, but that she's just reflecting that at you.
Yeah.
And this is you going, no.
I'm still not going to let anybody put that light out. They think they have, but they haven't. And she has reached people around the world. Like, it's the power that she still has, even though she's not here, is something that I will hold on to. And it is my motivation to, I'm so lucky to still have my life. And life, if I've learned anything, is so, so fragile. Yeah. And you don't have the time to just
fuck around.
Yeah, don't have the time to fuck around.
You just don't. Like, we try to skirt around. We try to be perfect.
We're not here forever.
We're just not.
No.
We're just not. So let's just do what matters and lights us up and live this life.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, we don't have time to be miserable, basically.
No.
And, don't get me wrong, I think we still need to feel our feelings, because I avoided them for so long and they all just came crashing down at once.
So let's talk about that, because that's absolutely true. Like, the biggest thing in every part of what I believe in my journey and everything I'll ever coach a client is you cannot bypass. There's this talk on social media at the moment of quantum leaping, which I believe in and I have personally experienced. You can quantum leap, but you can only truly quantum leap in a way that I think is healthy and that serves when you've allowed yourself the time that you've needed in the darkness, in the things you've been avoiding, in the things that you've rejected, in the things that you've shoved down, right? So talk us through, because obviously the number one thing is your story's not the only story out there. That's why you've had such support. Like, so many people go through things that's so out of their power and control, get zero support when it happens. And also, not everyone is necessarily as powerfully resilient and beautiful in energy as you are, which is why you're leading the way. And being a leader comes with, its own baggage, but its own absolute profound, like, amazing energy.
Oh, it does.
But in saying that, like, for the people that obviously might not necessarily be that leader and looking for the leadership, like, when they are going through something like that, what does avoidance look like? Like, what does avoidance look like, and, why doesn't it serve?
Avoidance for me looked like throwing myself into work, throwing myself into projects, being so busy that I didn't have the time to think or feel any of my emotions. And I learned very, very quickly that if you don't choose when to rest, when to take that time for you, your body will choose for you eventually.
Yeah.
It is not sustainable forever.
No.
And I crashed and burned like what it felt like crashing and burning after probably about 6 months after I lost her. And
yeah, because the grief would have been
just,
like, I'm coming through.
Yeah, I'm like,
it
no,
would have been like a liar going,
Yep.
I'm not listening to you.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
doing my
sit
thing.
down, put your ass down.
That's right.
sit
Like,
down.
I'm coming out,
Yeah.
you know, like whether you're ready or you're
Yep.
not, that part of her personality.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's exactly what happened. And I was just like, it just all hit me at once because I had been avoiding it, and it was, and it still is.
It would be, obviously,
like,
forever.
Forever. Like, but something that really sticks with me that someone said to me is grief is like a ball, and then your life, the grief doesn't get smaller over time, your life grows around it. And your tolerance, your window of tolerance gets bigger, and you're able to sit with those feelings longer. And, you know, in the beginning I did say, everyone that said to me, it doesn't get better, but it gets easier with time.
Yeah,
And
almost like it doesn't get better, but you get better at feeling it probably,
Mm-hmm.
and then navigating life around the fact that the feeling's always going to be there. That can never change.
Yeah.
You know? One of my biggest things that I wanted to ask you, and this is actually super personal to me, when we see someone who goes through grief at that level, right? And it is like I was saying earlier, I mean, it's the worst grief that anyone ever fears. We can all lose parents. We can even lose siblings, like not downplaying that grief, but your own children is like
they were a part of you. There's nothing that compares. Like, I've lost people before, but there's just absolutely nothing that compares to losing a child, and no one could ever prepare you for it.
So when you're in that space, I had a friend who lost a baby in childbirth, and I remember not knowing what to say or what not to say because I didn't know. And so I remember not saying anything, and her years later saying the word, and it wasn't about me, she was talking generally. She was saying the worst bit is how people didn't want to say her daughter's name. People didn't want to speak about it. It was, and almost in, and I could kind of relate to those people because I hadn't, because I'm just not wanting to offend, right? Like, my intention is just, I don't want to offend, but in my intention not offending, I'm offending, and I'm leaving someone to feel disconnected, to feel lonely, to feel isolated. And so I suppose from your perspective, you've given us some beautiful insights into when someone's right in the middle of grief, how to view that from that ball perspective. But like, what helped you? How did people show up for you? What helped and what didn't?
Honestly.
So that everyone can know, right? Because we all want to support people. We just don't know how.
And we don't talk about it.
We don't, which is exactly what we're doing now.
No one talks about grief.
We're scared.
Yeah, everyone's scared. Everyone's scared of being uncomfortable.
Yep.
And my thing is, I'm like, but what about me? My whole life is uncomfortable now. Like, I get no one wants to be uncomfortable, but I have to be for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And so do so many other people.
Correct.
So what didn't help was people saying, at least your son is yet too young to remember. At least you have other kids.
So invalidating.
Yeah,
the
invalidating.
massive fucking experience you were going through, right? That's invalidation.
And weirdly enough for me, people saying sorry. Like they did it. It's like, I'm sorry too.
Yeah.
And funny you mentioned about not saying your friend's baby's name, because it's so hard to hear their name, especially when it's so raw. But and any other parent that's lost a child that I've spoken to is so scared of is people forgetting, people not saying their name. I would rather hear her name and it hurt than not hear her name. And people just want to be treated normally. They don't, they still want to be invited to things. They might not come, but you're thinking of them. They want to be thought of. Sometimes they don't want you to try and fix. Actually, no. backtrack on that. We don't want you to fix it because you can't.
Because nothing you
Unless
can
you
do
can resurrect the dead.
correct.
You can't.
There is no fix.
No, there's
No.
not. And just acknowledging how shit what you are going through is enough. It's validating. It's like, yeah, it is. Thank you for like actually acknowledging that. Thank you for acknowledging that there's nothing that compares. There's nothing that you can say that will fix it. That's all you want. You don't want people to fix it, but you need the support. You need to be wrapped around by your community and ask for people to ask, what do you need? Because people often want to help, but they're not actually helping.
Well, they're helping from their framework of what they think is going to help, but that's not helping.
Yeah.
That's helping through your own lens. Helping is saying, what do you need?
Yeah. Helping is stopping and going, okay, this is what I may want, but I don't know what they want because I haven't asked. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to ask, hey, is there anything I can do? Is there anything I can help you with? That and is just so much in itself. And there's nothing you can help me with at the moment. Maybe, or just, can you just sit here with me?
Because that would change, right? Like one day what you need is totally different to perhaps what you need the next day, which perhaps is different to what you need in the next hour. Yeah. Like that's because it's still just
like the 5 stages of grief are a load of crap. There's no 5 stages
good
of
one.
grief.
This is good. Yeah. So you reckon
you oscillate between so many different stages, and you might accept it one day and then the next day you're like, no, this hasn't happened. Like, I can't accept this. And then 10 minutes later you might go, okay, no, this is really happening. Like, and
let's talk about acceptance, because that level of acceptance you're forced into is unfathomable. I can't really fathom it, right? But control versus acceptance, like how has that piece played into your not coping mechanism? That sounds so shit, but I'm not like trying to offend anyone. I'm just trying to put it into words as how I'm thinking about it. Like, you're going through something that feels so like it's smothering you. How did that piece come into play, if at all?
And to be honest, it's only in the last probably 2 months that it's actually come into play, because, and it kind of dawned on me when someone said, just because you accept something doesn't mean you like it.
Boom.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah, accepting the reality over that's what I would do or what I prefer or what I would choose.
And just because you're angry, just because you accept it does not mean you're not angry, you're not sad, you're not all of these huge emotions. You've just accepted that this is shit. This has happened. And yeah, I do have to live the rest of my life with this, but I have a choice here. I can either fall into a deep depression and let it consume me and my entire life, and that wouldn't only consume me, that would consume my husband and my son.
Because you've got a son too.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, there's like, it'd be also okay for someone to fall into depression for as long as they need to, like as long as eventually we come out, but some might need longer. But that is hard when you have a son.
You don't get a choice.
That in some way pulls you. Yeah,
That's like people saying, oh, you're so strong. And it's like I had a choice. I don't have a choice. Well, I do have a choice.
You do.
I do. And
something's just feeling you, that love inside of you.
She wouldn't want me to. I'm so fortunate to still have my life that I need to make it mean something. I need to make it worth living, because I wanted her life to be worth living. And it was the short time that she was here. But, how would she sit back and go, Mum, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
you see, you hear her. She talks through you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, energy, right? Energy can't be created or destroyed. It's transmuted. It's different, but you can,
Well, every time I feel like I'm like, I can't do this, I get some sort of a sign from her like, hell yes, you can. You've still got my brother. You've still got Dad. We need you. And that's the part of me that just keeps going. I now, rather than constantly just go, I do give myself time to feel those feelings and to be in my emotions, but I don't allow them to completely consume me for forever, like, because I know where that leads and it doesn't lead anywhere good. And I still want my son to grow up having the best possible life he possibly can in our situation.
Yeah. And what you're saying there, it kind of reminds me of, it's like, when it comes to grief, it's so difficult because everyone's different, right? And I don't think anyone can ever really tell anyone what's right for them, but it's so helpful to hear what other people do and think and have how they've processed, because it allows us to go, that resonates, that doesn't, that doesn't, that does, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, if emotions like sit in the back seat of your car, this is how I deal, and this is how I deal with my anger. I have a massive anger part. Like, that little part is feisty as fuck.
Feels.
The feels, mate. And she's like, you know, and I mean, that was obviously super destructive for me in parenthood.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I'm carrying on with my kids like my dad carried on with me, and that's not serving anyone. But yet I have this part that also, the reason she's there is because no one's fucking letting her in the seat.
Yeah.
So this is how I thought of emotions. Like, it's like I'm driving the car and my best self is driving. My leader, my best self, whoever knows where they're fucking going, has got the steering wheel. And all the emotions is like children, but they're all in the background, right? Like on the back seat. So you can't give them the steering wheel because who knows how that's going to pan out. But it's not going to be great. We're not going to have a rattle time, and we're not going to have a car afterwards, and it's going to take longer to get to our end destination. But it's like allowing kid after kid to have a turn sitting in the front seat next to me. And I can't let every fucking kid sit in the seat in front of next to me at the same time. No. So, like, yes, you know, it's not having favorites. I'm taking turns.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put that kid and or I put the emotion next to me, and I'm like, this is your time. And then I connect in with that as much as I can, knowing all those will get their turn. So I don't feel like I have to fake to be happy here, or I have to get through here, or I have to now, do you know what I mean?
Self-compassion.
Like, I just allow that to be, but then there's a moment where I'm like, now the leader is being impacted by where she's going, so it's time for you to now go, and I love you no matter what, but it's your time to now, and I need to pull out something else for this bit, and like, do you know what I mean? That's kind of how I think about it, and it's kind of how what I'm hearing you're describing, but obviously you might not have put that visual to it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Like, it's
like, you've got to go there.
Yeah, you can't force away emotions. You are at some point going to have to feel those emotions regardless of whether you want to or not. You can, you know, force them away as much as you want, but the reality is
they're just getting louder.
They're just getting louder,
kicking, screaming, pulling your hair, doing the thing.
Yep. And I guess the crash when they do come, the more you push them away, it is bigger. Whereas allowing yourself the time to go, okay, yeah, I need to feel this. And just saying, you know what, I have every right to feel the way that I do, and some.
And some.
And some.
And fucking some.
And that's okay. You're allowed to do that. But I think what's been really helpful for me is what I do with that emotion.
Yes.
So I have a lot of anger as well.
As you would.
Like, what happened shouldn't have happened, but it did. And I can't change that. But what I can do is channel it into something meaningful and channel it into something that is going to make a lasting impact for not only me, but for so many other people in this instance. But even on a smaller scale, I can be angry, and I could, be engaged in destructive behaviors, or I can channel that into something that serves your values. And you obviously have a big value of love, mate, because you could not be who you are sitting here in front of me, your energy, everything, but like even the way you're speaking about how you've been able to reframe this, like, that is love. And love is the most powerful thing, and you have evidently got that. So true. Like, what you can achieve in life
I know,
with love
super
is just
cool.
Nothing else has anything on love. Like, And it shows in so many different ways. And another thing, you know, I read as well was grief is just all the love we never got to give. It is love. We wouldn't have grief if we didn't have love.
I 100% connected into that when you said it.
The
loss of what you still had
I've still got so much love to give, and that's what that grief is. And the bigger the amount of love you've got, the bigger the grief, the bigger the hole. But it's what you choose to do with that.
Yeah, that you can do that is just so immensely... What a leader.
Thank you. It doesn't mean I don't have my days. There's days where I don't want to get out of bed, but
that's part of it too, right? Like,
and that's allowing rest.
Yep.
And I used to be like, oh, I'm not doing something, I'm failing. No, you're not failing. You're a human. You're not a robot. You need time to rest and recoup and nurture yourself. So having that compassion for myself and actually allowing myself the time to rest without rushing it is just as important as turning it into something else. You can't turn it into something that as powerful as this foundation if you don't allow yourself the time to rest and to feel your feelings. You cannot force things that are not meant to be.
Oh, hell no. And it's mirroring, right?
Yeah.
So, like, if you are run down and you are empty, whatever that will reflect in the foundation. And obviously you are such a loving force of giving to people so that you can help. And how can you do that from an empty cup? Well, you can't, and you'll be giving them empty.
You can't.
No, you'll find correct. And then it's like, so to have to be the real definition of love, it means you take care of you so that you can take care of everyone else. You can't, it's not the other way around, right?
Mm-hmm. And
so tell us about your foundation. So I want to hear if you want to talk about it. Like, I'd love to hear. So, I mean, because there's people that is obviously going through this type of thing as well. Mm-hmm. I have got very little experience with kind of like the medical system.
Well, so did I before this.
Yeah.
And, you hear people so often saying, oh, the healthcare system's so broken.
I've heard that, correct?
Yeah. And you're like, yeah, it is, whatever. Like, until you're actually directly affected by it, when you need the support that you've never needed before, and there is absolutely nothing.
And they fucked up. Is that right?
Yeah.
So, like, this is like double whammy, because it's like not only... Because, like, let's just pretend someone has breast cancer.
Yeah.
And so,
she wasn't sick.
No, but let's say someone has breast cancer, and so no one can help it, and they die a natural cause from the breast cancer, and there's no support for the family. Like, that's a fuck up in its own right, because we live in a human world with a government that are humans, that we pay a lot of money to, that are us. They're us. They're a representation of us. Yeah. So, like, what part of whatever is flowing through or not flowing through doesn't mean that at that most vulnerable, crucial time when someone is then suffering that, are you not there to support the family or to support them?
Yeah.
So that's a fuck up in its own.
Yeah.
But yours was a double one, as what I'm understanding.
Yeah. It was, and like,
I'm getting so passionate. Sorry, but I'm getting angry on your behalf.
Oh, trust me, I fluctuate in and out of that anger all the time.
Which is good. It's beautiful. It's normal.
It's normal, and it's not
powerful.
It's not openly accepted either, because oh gosh, she's angry. Well,
not by the system. Lucky we're here.
Yeah,
changing it.
Exactly. And people. I've gotten so many comments to say, we're just small, we don't matter, like what we say doesn't make a difference. I'm like, fuck yes it does.
It's not true. I always say this. That is a bugbear of mine, because if every person said it, it would 100. All that has to happen is every person has to say it. So that's a bugbear of mine. But good on you for not listening.
Yeah, well, and you would just think that our only children's hospital in the state would have support for families, because correct. I am not the first mother to lose her child.
No.
They don't have support once your child passes, or in our circumstance, I don't know what it's like for other people, but that's where the care stopped. We got told to call Red Nose or Lifeline, and well, I don't want to sit on the phone to a stranger.
No, that's bullshit. Yeah, that's
after
ridiculous.
My
Like,
child has,
they
my
need to
life
know
has just
what
been
you
destroyed. Yeah, there was absolutely nothing, and it was we were just how like, and yeah, there is support available if you have the money for it.
But don't, because that's getting off point. Like,
yeah,
the bottom line is when you've lost a child,
you need to be wrapped in love and support, and
without asking, without expecting, without thinking. You don't know what you want, you don't know what you need.
10 million
it needs
emails
to come to you.
Yeah, and so this is what we've created with the Aliyah Mae Foundation.
Tell us about that. So, like, that is super concerning.
Yeah,
but like,
that's
now,
the why.
Yeah, beautiful why. Yes, no, and I'm so glad you've shared it. I mean, it's concerning on behalf of all of humanity and anyone ever. But
so the Aliyah Mae Foundation, we are creating a home visit service. So when you have a child and you get the midwife coming and visiting you, they wrap you in support, they link you in with services that you would have no idea because you've just popped out a baby.
They come, they show you how to breastfeed, they sit with you. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. Yep. I've had that.
And it's personal.
It's personal. Yep.
We are creating that with the foundation, but for when your child passes.
Yep.
We are, and because there is maybe a couple of services available, but because they're so little, they've got such long wait lists, you have to wait several months to access them. So Aliyah's Wish is the service. We called it Aliyah's Wish because her favourite nursery rhyme that I sung to her every night was Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So our volunteers are stars, and the program is called Aliyah's Wish in honour of that. And it just, that I was trying, sorry, now I'm going to cry.
Please do not be sorry, because I'm going to say something super raw and authentic, and I hope this ends up making it into the edits, into the end one. In our interview notes, you said you didn't want to make me feel uncomfortable. Fuck that. Fuck that.
I think, like you said before, and like I said, was because people get so uncomfortable talking about grief.
Let them. But, let them.
Yeah.
Because it's not your job ever, as I know you know.
Yeah. Other people's opinions of you are none of your business. And that is so powerful. And telling myself that has allowed me to build this foundation.
Because do you feel that there are opinions that's resistant? Like, I'm kind of, since I've done my personal development journey in my own universe, right? Because I've learned to let go all of the shit.
Especially with anger. You've got to learn to let go.
So do you feel like there's people that are judging you and resisting you? And if you feel it, there probably is. But, I'm struggling to comprehend who would.
I think
You know what I mean?
I have been a chronic people pleaser for a while.
Yeah, okay, so it's just ingrained.
So I have to keep telling myself that.
Yep.
That other people's opinions of you are none of your business. Keep telling yourself, keep doing what you're doing. It makes a difference. It's needed. And it is needed because the amount of support that we have gotten from everyone for this foundation to make it happen. People look at me and they're like, what do you mean she passed away 7 months ago and you've already built a charity? I'm like, fuck yeah, I have.
Yeah.
That's her.
Yeah.
That's her shining through. That's it, because it's needed. I wouldn't have been able to build what we are building in the time that I have without the support and without that fire.
That
burning
love.
urge to to make a difference. But to also do it at a pace that suits me and not...
And we don't have to ever justify, because fuck everyone else and fuck their opinions. Because they just... And if everyone just embraced that life would be so much better for everyone, because no one knows, no one's going through it, and they're going through their own versions and their own shit, and they have their... Correct, agreed. But also just know when to keep your mouth shut sometimes.
Yeah, look,
there
is times when I've just been like, you know what? Just let them have it.
But I like that, assume good intent. I think that's something I can take away and learn. I struggle with that, assume good intent.
Oh, that doesn't come easy, but I definitely
good on you.
remind
That's a beautiful
myself.
one. I'm taking that.
Yeah, Aliyah would have assumed good intent, and then I'm got to make sure that I do. I need to lead by example for myself.
Yep.
Yeah, and for my son as well. And that's yeah, it's hard to do, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it, and I cannot wait to, like, we have big dreams for this foundation. Once we nail Aliyah's wish in WA.
Have you drilled down now into exactly what it is yet?
Yeah.
So, no, like, I want to know. So, like, walk me through, like, I'm the customer.
Okay.
So what does it look like? What do I do? Where do I go?
So we are in the process of linking in with other health professionals, with hospitals, to create that handover almost. So the care will almost start before. If there is an expected passing of a child, they can link in with us, and we will whether they want us to come and sit with them and bring coffee and just listen, or they want us to help them plan the funeral, notify.
You'll ask. This
Yep.
goes back to what we said
Yep.
earlier. You'll have, like, options,
It's
obviously.
about what they want.
But you'll ask.
So
yeah.
we are creating a directory to go with this service, and it will have trauma-informed counsellors and psychologists, free and low-cost mental health services that are available, vendors for keepsakes that are tried and trusted businesses. You're not going to get ripped off. You're going to get what you pay for. They're going to create those lasting memories for you. Funeral directors that aren't going to rip you off because they exist, believe it or not. It's, or a bunch of suppliers that are just and services that you will need. At some point, there will be options. We're doing research.
You can trust. That you don't have to do that thinking and research or whatever for yourself.
Because you can't think. You can't even remember your own name at that time. And I remember trying to sign a piece of paper, and I was like, I just couldn't do it. And so to have someone there to say, hey, can you please do this for me? Can you please help me with this? That's what we will be there for in that first 3 or 4 months when life doesn't seem real. Just there to support you. It's individualized support. It's what you want.
Mate. Like, it is well done. And, it's not like there can ever be a not well done in this scenario, but that is just so powerful.
I can't believe it doesn't exist already.
Well, because it's really hard for people to go through all the things you said you've gone through, and you've been able to, that piece of what the shit messaging people will say and the projections that they'll put onto you. And it's because people crumble. It's hard to rise, and I'm sure you give yourself credit, but I honestly, genuinely,
thank you.
Like, from the bottom of my heart, no, not even to the extent that you've gone through, but just my own journey, how hard it is to rise through things like that and still love and still value add in a way that serves humanity in a greater sense despite all the other shit shows, and that you are able to do that, and the impact on the families and the mums and the dads and the siblings.
I just know how awful and how alone we felt, and I would not wish that on another living soul. And I knew that her story had the power, that my story had the power to make change. So I had to, because that's just me as a person. I could not even fathom letting somebody else feel the exact same pain to the depths that we have, because they've just not had the support that they needed in the time. No one deserves that.
No, and like, they'll feel all the pain they did, but they won't feel as lonely.
Yeah. We can't take away the pain, but we can.
It's kind of like, no matter how bad anything is, when you've got that, whether it's your mum or your dad you related to, or a warm blanket, it's like no matter what you're going through, no one can go inside of you and remove it, but you can
wrap them tight.
You can have that it does provide comfort, and provides massive comfort.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm supported.
And validation. Because you don't think that I've felt sometimes that how I'm feeling isn't valid. And I'm like, hang on.
So you felt that. Have you felt
Yeah.
invalid in yourself in something this big? Because this is a big message, because people feel we gaslight ourselves all the time,
we
because
do.
life gaslights the shit out of us.
Toxic positivity ain't for me. I have those big emotions, and I'm not always sitting here in, like, I'm not sitting high and mighty going, I don't have these feelings. I don't get angry. I don't not want to get out of bed, because I do. But the love that I have is stronger. I have to hold on to it.
Yeah, and you hold on to it. What better is worth holding on for than Eliah's love?
Yeah. But sometimes we don't worry about ourselves enough.
True.
And I think if you're going to hold space for anybody, you need to hold it for yourself. You cannot hold space for others.
Correct.
Until you hold space for yourself.
As deep as you've ever met yourself is the only ability that you've got to meet someone else. Absolutely.
I always say, I'll be as honest with you as I am with myself.
That's beautiful. I like that. That's beautiful. I like that. Yeah, because that's exactly right. But you also know enough to know that every now and then you've gone through an awakening and you've realized, maybe I wasn't as honest with myself. So it is literally the qualifier in terms of as much as I can, I'm honest.
Yeah.
But permission to change, because we grow and we evolve and we discover new things. That's good. I love that.
Yeah, and just holding that space for yourself just is one of the most important things that I've learned, because you cannot grow if you can't give something else your everything if you're not giving yourself everything in return.
Yeah, it's like a flower. You'll die.
Yeah.
If you don't give yourself water, well, hopefully other people can give you water too. But sometimes in life, people don't. And sometimes in life, others can't give you the water you need.
Yeah.
You can only give yourself that type of water.
Yeah.
Like both of those apply. And without the water, you can't.
And knowing when you're not getting what you need, and when to stop forcing something that's just not meant to be, is huge in itself. Because I've found, I was trying to force my other business still. I love what I do, but I was unable to hold that space for people in the way that I felt that I needed to. I wasn't able to give it my everything because I wasn't nurturing myself. I wasn't giving myself everything. And the second that I stopped and made some necessary decisions and stopped forcing, the opportunities that have come from that flow state, have been beyond my wildest dreams already.
Yeah, because it's from the heart, right? So just nothing beats that.
Mm-hmm.
If you can leave a mum, I'm just going to say mum because I could say dad, but you're not a dad. You're a mum.
No, I'm definitely a mum.
So I'll have dads on here sometimes with their own things, but like if you can leave a mum in a similar position to you with anything, what would that be?
That sounds cliche, but
doesn't matter.
Give yourself time. Allow yourself to feel the feelings that you are feeling. They are valid, and no one can tell you otherwise. And if you need to put boundaries in place with people, do it. And don't feel bad for it. You can sit here and try and please everyone, but the reality is you'll never be able to please everyone, and you don't need to. Look after you first.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on and for sharing your story. Is there anything else that you want to cover?
Thank you for having me.
No,
it's been an absolute honour. And just thank you for being open to talking about grief. I feel like we really just need to normalise it in our society, because it's not normalised being uncomfortable and having uncomfortable conversations, because they happen. Just because we don't talk about it doesn't mean they don't happen.
That's right. That's half the problem. That's why we don't heal, because we ignore it. We shove it in the boot. So it just gets louder and louder and louder and louder. And it's like the number one step.
And then it slaps you in the face.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just everyone's miserable.
Yeah.
Everyone's miserable. And it's like, well, you wonder why, because you're not willing to look at the uncomfortable bits so that you can process through it.
Yeah.
So my absolute pleasure. And thank you so much. I've got girl crush eyes on you, in all honesty.
you.
Like, you know, that I just think you're phenomenal. I think I know I can see that love and that drive and that passion and that.
And I'm never going to let anyone put that out, despite her not.
Or yourself by doing too much.
Yes.
Right?
She needs to rest.
She needs to rest.
Sometimes she dims.
It's a dance. It's a dance that we do, right? It's
sometimes that light dims, but it's never out.
No. When it dims, you go, cool, rest time.
Yeah.
Me time.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Fill my cup, what makes me happy, what makes me feel like alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it's a balance. Sometimes it's one thing, sometimes it's another. But yeah, half the battle with me anyway has always been not so much others. It's like, don't get in your own.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. That speaks to me.
Yeah, I'm exactly like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So thank you so very much. I really, really appreciate it.